time. But as a football team, we're excited to be here, be a part of the international series of games that the league puts on. I think the NFL's done a really good job expanding the game globally, and we're happy to be a part of that. And it's one thing when you talk about traveling an entire team with joint practices before that we had in Indy. It's one thing to do that during training camp. It's another to move your facility in the regular season. It brings a lot of challenges, but I have to give our football ops group a lot of credit for how well they've done in this move. And that really starts with Kyle Kelly, who's the head of our logistics. Has done a fantastic job and has made this very seamless. It really put our team in a position where they can focus on football and continue the progress that we've made so far. In terms of what I see on the football field, right now I see a team that is learning, adapting, growing, and improving week by week. I've been very happy with the high level of communication from player to coach, coach to player, to find solutions and find ways to improve every single week. And sometimes in the league that's hard. A lot of times we're looking at the problems, but you gotta have a solution-based mindset, and that's exactly what our football team has done. That's what our players have done. And when you watch our games, I believe you can see that each and every week, which is really exciting. In terms of roster updates, I know Coach usually hits the medical, but I'll just give you a few updates. So Brisker, we kept back in Chicago. He had reports of concussion symptoms on Monday. Reported that to Andre, which I give him a lot of credit for because we all know how competitive he is. And that as a player, from a player's perspective, that's difficult because you want to just have an opportunity to go play. But he's in the concussion protocol. You all probably remember the hit to force the fumble. I thought he did a really good job actually getting his head out of it and using his shoulder. But unfortunately, the offensive player hit the side of his helmet. All of the mechanisms that are put in place by the league and the team were there, spot checks, all of that, but he was cleared all the way through, but the symptoms popped up on Monday, so we want to respect that and make sure that he's healthy as we move forward, so that's why he stayed behind. Jacob Martin's window is going to open up to practice. We'll start that here, so he'll have 3 weeks. The bye week does count, part of those 3 weeks, so roster move will have to happen by the end of that time. And then Larry Borum continues to get closer and closer to have his window open to start practicing, and Ryan Bates is getting healthier as we go, so he's looking better and better. And then Homer's still rehabbing his finger. So I'll open up the questions.
Is Brisker out or something?
Yeah.
Ryan, how's the experience been for you watching Caleb over the first 5 weeks? If you go to that choppy beginning to where we're at now.
Yeah, I think he's learning how to play professional football. And when I say that, that means to have a winning mentality in terms of what does it take to win football games from the quarterback position. And you've seen that in terms of the efficiency, protecting the football, taking what's given to him, and then as going into this last game now, explosives are starting to show up. So I really like his progress. I love the work ethic and the time that he's put into it, the toughness, the ability to bounce back from tough games. So he's right where he should be, and he's continued to get better.
How much progress did you see in the last 2 weeks, taking into account that those are two of the league's worst defenses?
Yeah, it's the NFL. I get the record part, but his operation part I thought was really clean. I thought from watching his eyes and just going through the process, there was more poised and controlled, and he knew where to go with the ball faster. So those are all promising things to see, regardless if you're going against the scout team. And I think too, when you say, well, should these things be ready to go at the end of the preseason? It's a different speed. There's different combinations of guys out there, and I think he's done a good job improving over the last 2 weeks.
Good job, Mike. When you have a rookie quarterback and you've seen another rookie quarterback in the league doing as well as David is in Washington, do you have to guard against maybe comparing those things, kind of the natural, I would assume like the natural thoughts you have, like seeing somebody succeed and Caleb taking a little bit longer to get there?
Yeah, I think, I mean, the human side of it is, you know, you want your guy just to take off and roll, but everyone's journey is gonna be different. I think the important thing is for Caleb to understand that as well and run his own race. And he's done that well in terms of just focusing on how can I get better, how can I put our team in a position to win games.
Is that hard when it's happening in his hometown?
You'd have to ask him that.
How would you,
What factor do you think the offensive line struggles have been in Caleb's development? How much of that has counteracted things that you guys are trying to coach Caleb to do?
Yeah, I think it's all connected when you talk about the whole operation in terms of the cadence, where the protection is going. You know, you have a few new pieces in there, making adjustments, communicating. So, you know, and I think they've gotten better as we've gone along too, in terms of, you know, making sure that the pocket's a little bit deeper. And then again, his drop and where he climbs up and delivers from has improved as well.
Ryan, you have a big UK fan base. Are you surprised how big the Bears are in the UK? And do you have a message for your fans ahead of the Sunday's game?
Make it as loud as possible, make it into a home game. I'm not surprised at all. Our fan base is unbelievable. And I've talked to our group just from my travels around. You know, Bears fans are popping up all over the place trying to tell me, you know, all of their opinions and things we should and shouldn't do. So it's a beautiful thing, and I can't wait to see our fans here in the UK.
Right, so talking about the offense, kind of standard, you made a lot of changes in the offseason, obviously, offensive coordinator and also the team. Are you happy where that team is now 5 weeks into the season?
Yeah, that's a part of just the adapting and adjusting that I've seen from really the preseason, the week 1 to 2 and on. Trying to figure out how does this team operate the best? What do we do well? Do those things a lot? What are we struggling with? Obviously, there's detailing that we'll try to improve in practice. But maybe we put some of that on the side for right now and really dig into what we do well and what we're comfortable with, and then we'll expand from there. So I really like the ability to adapt and adjust, and then putting our playmakers in a position to be successful.
Right. What have you learned about Shane over the past few weeks?
Yeah, his openness. Again, we all, from scouting to coaching, we all have these, you know, philosophies that, you know, we have, but at the end of the day, it's about the players and putting them in a position to be successful. So just identifying where Caleb's at in his process. Do we need to slow it up? Do we need to speed it down? Do we need to make decisions like getting in a no huddle and a tempo situation so he can get into a rhythm, changing the cadence up, different things like that. So his ability to adapt on the fly has been impressive as we've gone.
Ryan, do you have any level of concern with Keenan Allen slow start? I mean, he's been hurt. Even when he's down the field, frankly, just hadn't looked like the same guy.
Yeah, there's some really good routes this past game, and I feel like he's trending in the right direction. Again, when you start the season, different guys are on different paths, get a little dinged up, a little slow start, but really, I felt like Keenan has done a good job as he's gone week to week here and started to play. There's a couple third down conversions that he had this past game that I was like, all right, it reminded me of the guy that I've watched over the years playing, and he's going to be a really good option for Caleb as we go.
Ryan, explain the slow start that Swift had and then his ability last 2 games to look a lot more like the guy that was on the Eagles last year.
Yeah, I think, you know, we've changed a few things in our run game that allow him to get going. I think as well as like anybody, there's some struggles that guys have that you have to identify, like, all right, I gotta really focus on improving this. And he's done that. And even in the screen game, I thought we were a little out of rhythm and timing. Little details were off early in the season. And then you saw those things start to click. And then once you start adding all these different elements, you're starting to see the ball get distributed evenly across the field. And there's going to be opportunities for bigger plays because you're going to have to be concerned about the different playmakers on the field.
When you see the concussion issue with Brisker, knowing that this is multiple for him, and obviously there's a human side to the situation as well.
Yeah, there's always the human side and the health side, so we want to make sure he's in a good place and stays healthy. You know, there's different techniques and things to protect your head, and I think he actually won that play. It was unfortunate. I thought he was doing the right thing there. But we'll take our time and make sure he's completely healthy and make sure our training staff's involved with that to make sure he's in a good place now and into the future.
Ryan, what do you make of Nate Davis' situation right now, from being injured and now not being the starting line?
Yeah, it's been a little up and down there, but I think it was Brad that asked me the question at the beginning of the season about the O-line, and I said I was really happy with the depth that we've had, and that's shown up. And there's guys like Pryor who are looking for opportunities, and they've stepped in there and done a really good job. And again, with Caleb, really making sure he's got depth to the pocket. He's been able to set the pocket and create some movement in the run game, so we've been happy there. And that's part of building a roster. That's my job, and the front office's job is to create competition. And I think Matt's done a really good job there, and Nate has some things he can continue to work on. And it's, again, there's depth, and as we go along the season, there's going to be things that happen and injuries, so we're going to need everyone to stay ready.
Bill
Ryan,
Murray.
for international fans who are interested in the sport but don't have a team, why should they support the Bears?
Yeah, we're an exciting team that we're heading in the right direction. You got a talented roster, we've been talented for a long period of time, and as we continue to grow, and start making deeper runs into the postseason, I think it's going to be a team that everyone's going to follow. I've been a part of an organization that you moved around the country and the world, you did not see that logo much at all, and now you see it everywhere. So we want to be on that same path.
Has Caleb been more comfortable in the pocket maybe than you could have imagined when the season started, knowing that was going to be a process?
Yeah, he looks definitely more comfortable in the pocket. I think it helps that we've created more depth to the pocket. That's important for him because he can, once he gets vertical, he has the ability to manipulate and stay alive and keep his eyes down the field. But he does look more poised, and I think that's part of getting the reps and also understanding where everyone's going to be and that trust too. I thought early there were some reps where he was drifting a little bit to the left side that caused even more pressure. So he looks more calm, collected, and moving through his progressions.
Ryan, what went into the decision to arrive earlier in the week? Well, it seems like you did the later arrival. And then second question, how often do you want to see the team be playing internationally? Do you want to see this happen every year, every couple of years?
Yeah, so the decision, Flus and I had spent time with our performance team. Brent Salazar, he's done work in pro tennis and he's done a lot of international travel. So we thought it was a good idea to get out here early, get adjusted to the time, get comfortable so that we're playing our normal football on Sunday. And the guys have done a good job. I think everyone slept well. Brent put these packs, and his team put these packs together that had, cards on how to get proper sleep, different vitamins to have, face masks, pillows, everything to maximize sleep on the plane. I thought they did a really good job, and then everyone stayed up pretty well last night and then kind of got onto the clock. So really just taking his expertise to make sure our players are in a good position to be successful. That's kind of how the process that we took there. So, and yeah, it is, I don't have much say in the schedule. So if it's every year, every other year, we'll be where we need to be to play the game.
Ryan, on almost any other team, the number 9 overall pick would have a constant spotlight on him, like the entire rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
Just Rome's in the situation where Caleb's here, other wide receivers. Just curious, how he's handled all that and what you make of his first 5 games in the NFL.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. The tough part of being a receiver is, you're going to run your route and you can be open sometimes when you're not seeing it. It goes to the first person in the progression, but you got to stay patient, stay alive. So he's done that, even though there's, obviously had a big game against Indy. Other games where maybe the numbers haven't been as high. He's been in a position to win. So I've been happy with where he's at, and I think he'll continue to, be productive and even have more flashes as we go.
Ryan, what did you see in the building?
Yeah, but Jason, you'll be the last one.
What are you hoping that your players get from the experience of coming over here, other than the game itself? You come early, you're going to get an experience different to the normal day. What are you hoping they take away as people?
Yeah, just to understand and interact with a different fan base. I think there's opportunity for fans that haven't been able to experience American football, and we can share that with them. But also, there's a lot of opportunities. Like myself, this is the first time I've been in this area in my entire life. So just exploring it and seeing new parts of the world, just from a human element, not even from football, just seeing new places, I think is important.
What did you see in your building after the Indy game? where it's only 3 games, but there seemed to be some sense of that this is not too early, where we need to get things focused and on track. And what role did you play in any of that reckoning?
I gotta give a lot of credit to our leadership group on the team. A lot of credit to Flus and Shane and Eric. I thought they did a fantastic job identifying, all right, this isn't, when you lose a game like that, this isn't acceptable. So we're gonna get together, we're gonna find solutions. And they did that fast. And they took initiative to do that. And I think it speaks, volumes on their leadership and desire to get this team where it needs to be as fast as possible.
We all silly like the mayor.